Hello and welcome to Keele University's first clearing webinar of 2025. Tonight we'll be discussing all things clearing and answering your questions. So if you do have a question for either of my two guests tonight, please pop them in the chat and I can ask them a bit later on after we've done our first little section. So I am joined by Sam and Andy from our Global Student Recruitment and Admissions team. Can I get you both to introduce yourself, tell us a bit about you and your role at Keele? Sam, starting with you.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Sam and I'm Head of Applicant Marketing and Communications at Keele. So my team looks after all things to do with, new students who are going to be coming to Keele, both undergraduate and postgraduate.
And hello everyone, my name's Andy. So I head up our UK Student Recruitment and Access team here at Keele. So my team deliver lots of outreach in schools and colleges across the UK. So you might have seen some of the team out and about working with you around your student journey over the last few months.
Brilliant, thank you both. So the way tonight is going to work is I've got a few questions for both Sam and Andy to go through first, which will just give us a nice overview of everything. But as we go through, or if you've got a question that you've already thought of, please do pop it in the chat. And after we've done this first little bit, we'll then get to the live Q&A. So please do pop them in now, and then I'll go through them whenever we get to that. But I think a nice place to start then is, if for those who aren't aware at all, what is clearing?
Yeah, it's a super good place to start, isn't it? And obviously, lots of people will only ever experience getting results and university choices once, ever. So it's a really good place to start. What is clearing? What are we here to talk about? So clearing is kind of the last part of the UCAS admissions process, really. And it happens right towards the end of you thinking about going to university in September. So this August, July period that we're in at the moment. So clearing is an opportunity to find a university place, and students will use clearing for lots of different reasons. So you may think of clearing as an option if you've not quite got the grades you've got. Universities will be able to make decisions quite quickly for students who might be in a position where they haven't achieved their university place. So you might be sitting here watching tonight with a kind of a conditional firm offer from a university, and that's where you're planning on going in September. Clearing can be a chance to change your mind, apply for a different course. It can be a chance to reevaluate your situation depending on whether you've been successful in getting a university place, and basically reassess where you're at, really. It can also be a really good chance to apply for the first time. So if you are sitting there thinking, I haven't actually applied to university yet, I'd really love to go in September, clearing can be a really good chance to make that application and secure yourself a university place. There are kind of two main things that you need to have for clearing. We'll touch on some of those a little bit later, but the first thing is it's all about getting your results. So depending on what you're studying, where you are in the world, if you've done an international baccalaureate, for example, you will have your results now. So your university choices should have told you by now whether you've been successful in securing your place. But again, you might not have applied to university. You might be thinking now's the time to make that application. You can do that when you've got your results. We might have people watching who've done A-levels, T-levels, BTECs, who you are still waiting for results. Totally normal, happens every single year. Middle of August we're aiming for. So when you have those results, you then might be able to enter clearing and make a fresh application. The benefit when it comes to confirmation and clearing time is universities know exactly how many places we have for all the courses that we have. So we do tend to have some flexibility around that time of year. If we still have vacancies available, we can then try and make some of those available for you. But you might be thinking, why are we doing this now then if people haven't got their results? The key thing for us is to kind of prepare you and help give you some advice over the next few weeks and months. It's obviously really difficult not knowing if you've got into a university of choice, but I think this time is a time to start thinking about a bit of a backup plan if things don't quite go to plan on results day. Universities will have published their clearing vacancies. We have, haven't we, on our website? So all of our clearing vacancies, all the courses that we're going to have available for you to have a look at. So now's the time to start planning, really. If anything's going to change for you over the next few months, now's the time to start thinking about that.
Brilliant. And you covered a lot there, but what's the best thing to do now and prepare if you're thinking of applying somewhere through clearing?
I think the first thing to do, Tom, is just have a bit of an idea of what your options might be if your initial plan doesn't quite work out. Now, your initial plan might actually be to go and change your course entirely. you might be sitting there thinking that's what you want to do. You're not happy with quite the choice you've made and you want to make a change. So that's one option for you. You might be thinking you're hoping to go to university, say you're holding an offer from Keele and you want to come to Keele. You might be thinking, what will happen if I don't quite get the grades that I'm expecting? And it's basically a good time to just make sure you do a quick double check of all those university options. Make sure you've kind of got an idea of what you might do if things don't quite go to plan, but also have a look around some of the universities you might have considered before. Maybe revisit their websites, maybe revisit them literally in person if you get the chance as well. But it's all about just kind of having a bit of a backup plan if things don't quite go the way you're expecting when you get your results.
And then thinking about the day itself. So if you're applying for a place on the 14th of August, which is results day, what are the things I'm sure there's quite a few things that you should do, but what should you do on that day?
Yeah, and we'll repeat this time and time again, Tom. We always say there are two things you absolutely need to know when it comes to that clearing period. One, your UCAS application kind of result, and your academic results from your qualifications as well. That's the key really to applying through clearing. So what can happen when you get your results is you may get the grades, and hopefully that's what we hope, isn't it? That everyone gets the grades you're hoping for, and then that you know that you've kind of met the conditions of your university offers, and you'll be successful in securing a place. What might happen is that you haven't got the grades that you wanted, so that's a possibility. But there's also making sure to check that university result as well. So what will happen sometimes is universities will still accept students who've slightly missed their academic qualifications. This is totally normal. What we normally do is we'll have a look at your whole profile. So we'll look at the academic achievement you have. Obviously, when you apply through UCAS, you have your personal statement, you have your reference, you have a wider application to university than just your grades. So what we might do is have a quick look and go, okay, this student's missed by a grade or two. We still think they're a strong candidate for the course. We still think they'll be successful. So we're still willing to make that an unconditional offer, and you'll have secured the place, even if your grades aren't quite right. And that's why we always say to check the two together. So if you've already applied, make sure to check whether the university still accepted you, and check what your actual grades are as well. If you're in a position where you are in clearing, so the university is unable to accept you onto the course, or you choose to not accept the offer, so that's an option for you as well. You can decline a university place that you've got confirmed. Then when you are in clearing, that's where you need your results. So we in effect can't do anything unless we know what grades you've got in whatever qualification it is that you've taken. Again, that's why those two pieces are really important. Yes, the university decision, but if you've got a university decision that isn't what you want, the key thing is then to get in touch with your grades, qualifications, results to help us work out whether you'd be a suitable candidate for the courses. What we're always trying to work out is what kind of student can we take onto the program who's still going to be really successful on the course. And if you've got those results, that gives us a really good indication, kind of super fresh, whether you're going to be a good fit and really successful at your time at university, whether that's at Keele, whether that's at other places as well. So that's kind of our approach, but there's two things that are kind of absolutely essential.
Amazing, thank you. The next question is one that we get a lot, and actually we've had a similar question already posted in the chat, and it's all about what courses you can apply to through clearing. Are all courses available, or is it only some? And specifically, this person's asking about midwifery. Is midwifery in clearing, but wider than that, what courses are available through clearing?
I mean, it will depend for every university, but for Keele, we've already published our clearing vacancies. You can have a look on our website. I think we can bring that up on screen. So if you go to keele.ac.uk/clearing, you will be able to see our current vacancies and also entry requirements. So you can apply online via a form, or you can call us if you want to discuss any options. At the moment, our admissions team are available kind of Monday to Friday, 10 till 2. But as we get kind of towards results day, that will extend. And on results day itself, obviously much more from 8 in the morning. In terms of vacancies, this page here has got all of our current vacancies on it. You can see already what we are full for. We don't have any vacancies in these subjects, and then some of these subjects were the foundation year. So medicine and pharmacy are the two main ones at the moment where we have no vacancies, and then some of those health programmes with foundation year, there's no vacancies there either. And we've got a waiting list at the moment for midwifery, for children's nursing, physiotherapy and radiography. In terms of a waiting list, if you have got your results, you can complete the form, and then we can get back in touch with you in terms of whether or not there might be an available space on results day. And then through there, you can just sort of see all of the vacancies we have, and then the UCAS points that you would require. Anything that's got a subject-specific requirement, we have got a page on the website all about subject-specific entry requirements, which will tell you all about what you might need, for example, for biology, the A levels that you might be looking for, or which UCAS points you might be looking for in terms of the tariff there. So yeah, lots of information on our website. We keep this up to date as well. So as things fill, as we get more applications in, then we will change, and you'll be able to see on the website what is still available. And it takes you through to our application form as well there, which is really simple sort of kind of go through. If you've got your results already, so some people perhaps, maybe have taken a year out from study and are deciding now, actually, I really want to go to university this September. You could apply now if you haven't already applied earlier in the cycle. And so, we have got it open now, so you can make the application now if you've already got your results. You've mentioned, IB. People have got results from that as well, so that might be sort of people who are making an application at the moment. And then as we then get towards results day, people are going to be looking to see what vacancies there might be in terms of if they want to change their mind, perhaps if they have missed a grade, or are they just sort of looking maybe to do something different to what they were originally thinking. I would say just keep on checking the website, and we keep that updated throughout results day as well in terms of what's available.
So it's likely that Nat, who commented about midwifery, has actually applied for the waiting list for midwifery rather than the course itself.
Yeah, if they've not, if it's applying for the first time now, then it'd be going onto a waiting list.
Brilliant. We'll circle back to all the questions that have come in,
Yep.
so please do keep asking your questions, and I'll get to them once we've done our first little section. But in terms of applying for a university then through clearing, might seem quite mad if you've not really been to the university or particularly know a great deal about them, but this is the first time that you're actually thinking of applying to Keele, which I guess for quite a few people going through clearing, that actually might be the case. What advice have you got for finding out as much as you possibly can in this space of time before September, really, in terms of applying to Keele? How can you find out more about us and everything that we offer?
Yeah, so if you wanted to find out something right now, the website, great source of information. There's loads of stuff on there about our courses, about our accommodation, about student life, some of the experiences that you might be able to have at university. But also there are opportunities to visit us between now and September. So we've got an open day in August on Saturday the 16th. And quite often, if people decide they're going to be joining us through clearing, they might apply to us on that Thursday, get an offer, and then want to come and sort of see what we're like, and they come on that Saturday. So yeah, Saturday the 16th of August is our next undergraduate open day. There are also campus visits that are taking place, so you can go and look on our website under our open days pages, and there's information about the campus visits that you might be able to do with a student ambassador, typically on a Wednesday afternoon. Come to campus, have a bit of a tour around, sort of see some of the facilities. You wouldn't be able to see everything that you would get to see on a full open day, but you're certainly going to get a bit of a flavour and a feel for what the Keele campus is like. And yeah, I mean, if you've never been to Keele before, I always recommend, if you can, come onto campus. It's a lovely campus, it's beautiful, and there's lots and lots of stuff to kind of see and do while you're here, so definitely recommend that. If you can't get to us, take a look at the website. We have got a virtual tour on there as well, so lots of photos and videos of kind of different parts of our campus, our accommodation, some of our teaching spaces, things like that. That's all available online as well.
Brilliant. And you mentioned accommodation there, so obviously for some people they might be relocating between now and September if they are going to come to Keele. Is it too late? Has all of our accommodation gone? Will you get accommodation through clearing? How does that work?
Yeah, so you can still apply for accommodation. We guarantee accommodation for clearing applicants. Basically, it's going to be either on campus or in university managed or approved accommodation. So we always save a certain number of rooms back every year for students who are going to be joining us through clearing. And that'll be a full range of rooms. Also, we have different room types on campus, everything from kind of superior ensuite, standard, shared flats and houses, things like that. There are a number of each room type that are saved for our students who are going to be joining us through clearing. You need to wait about 48 hours after you've kind of made that offer and accepted it before you can actually apply on the accommodation portal. But yes, definitely, we're very, very supportive of students joining us through clearing in terms of helping them find accommodation. If it is that we can't find you accommodation on campus, we will support you in finding off-campus accommodation, like I said, in our either managed or approved accommodation, and our accommodation team will work with you to try and help find a suitable place for you. But we always keep rooms on campus every year available for students who are going to be joining us through clearing. So it's I think a little bit of a concern for people. Oh, if I'm not kind of applying to go to university until that point in the year, there'll be nothing left. We always keep some back, so there will be the opportunity you can apply in August.
Brilliant, thank you both. That's all of my questions. So we'll move over to the Q&A now. We've had a few in the chat, so again, if you have got a question for either Sam or Andy, pop it in the chat and I can ask it now. Just following on from Nat's question then, so they've asked, so obviously if you've got your A-level results, that counts to UCAS points. If someone's done a foundation year and they want to apply through clearing, Nat's asked how does that grading work in terms of applying with a foundation year?
Yeah, it's a really good one. And what we would have to do is we'd have to have a look at what that foundation year is. So unfortunately, Nat, I'm sorry, we can't give you a dead set answer here. But what we would do is we'd look at the foundation year that you'd done, and we basically just check the modules within it and the scores in those modules to see if it matches to the course you then wanted to do. So for example, if you'd done a science foundation year at another university and you're looking to do a science course here at Keele, we just want to make sure that the science that you'd studied at the other university matched over to what we were teaching in our first year. So the idea is just trying to find those matches for where we think you'll be successful. There are kind of a range of international foundation years that we also take as well. So depending on the type of foundation year you're doing that, there might be a few different options for you there. But the key is doing that kind of mapping exercise. So best thing to do is if you've already got the results of that foundation year now, you can see on our website our opening hours. Give our admissions team a call. What they'll likely do is just run through kind of where we might have vacancies or not. I think it was midwifery, wasn't it?
Yes.
So they might say it's a waiting list anyway, but what we'll like to do is just take your details, add you to that list. If we can map that foundation year over, and likely we'd ask for a copy of a transcript just so we can make sure again the modules are right. What we wouldn't want is you've studied something entirely different and then you kind of come to university in year one and go, I haven't got the foundation for this at all, because the risk is that, if that doesn't then work for you and you're struggling with the course, we don't want to set you up to have a really difficult time, really. So that would be the advice. Now, if you give the admissions team a ring and talk through the foundation degree you've done or foundation year, they'll be able to then see if we can map it over.
Next one is around what courses are available, and you're probably not going to be surprised with this one, but is medicine in clearing?
I've seen the question, yeah, and typically for most universities, any university I would say, medicine isn't going to be available in clearing. We certainly don't have any places available in medicine this year for clearing, and it would be very, very rare, I think, for any university to have a place for medicine in clearing, unfortunately. It is one of the most sort of in-demand courses out there. I
guess on the off chance, though, if we were to, it would be on the website.
It would be on the website. It would appear on the website, yeah. So I'm not going to say keep your eyes peeled, because I don't need to checking back every 5 minutes. It's very, very, very unlikely to be added to the website.
But other courses in general?
Other courses in general, yeah, are definitely available. And this is your chance, now, if you're thinking about, whether it's just sort of to have a backup plan in place or it's exploring new options. Maybe you've decided you want to change the subject that you're going to go and study, or you want to study in a different location, you want to be closer to home or further away from home, or whatever it is. This is your opportunity now in between now and kind of results day to do that research. Have a look on those university websites that you're interested in, make a shortlist. Not every university will have already published their vacancies for clearing, and some do it a little bit later on, some do it more close to like the actual day of, and it's got a bit more of a bit more of a scramble to kind of find out what's there.
Yeah.
But there's quite a lot of universities that we out there that will already have that information available for you, so you can do that research, you can do that preparation, have a look and see what vacancies are, what the points are, so right, okay, so in this scenario then I might be able to get this, and if this is the scenario then it might be that. You can't really be too prepared, I suppose, in terms of the day of results. Have your plan A going in, have a plan B, and have a plan C, in terms of maybe a short list of people who you want to make a call to, in terms of if you're interested in going there, give them a ring, tell them what results you've got, get an offer, if they can make you an offer. In principle, we always say this every single year: don't release yourself from any offer until you've got another one in place, if that's what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to kind of trade up, trade across, you want to swap what you're doing. If you're currently holding an offer from a university, you hold on to that until you know that you've got another offer in place. Don't let that go first. Yeah, so we get asked that every year, and it's always like, don't let things go before you've got something else in place. But you've got all this time now where you can be looking at your options, you can be looking at vacancies, you can be looking at university websites to see, does that look like somewhere where I want to be studying? Do I like the sound of that? Does that course look like it's going to be a good fit for me? And then you can perhaps have your shortlist then of, if on results day you decide you're going to be going for another place somewhere else in clearing, you kind of got your shortlist of who you're going to call, who you're going to ask, and what you're going to try and sort of get out of the day.
Yeah, I think that's really worth thinking about. I think potentially even career-wise, you might have had an opportunity, some work experience, talk to some people since you made your application. You might have changed your mind a bit on the career front as well. And again, it's another opportunity to refresh your ideas. I think your advice there, Sam, though, around declining offers is absolutely key. You will, when you log onto UCAS Hub, you'll see the decline my place button. And we always say just never ever touch it until you've got that confirmation from university choice, because that is a final choice. If you choose to decline that, you are in clearing. You've said no to the university you want to go. You have already said you want to go to. So get your offer first. You can also get as many offers as you like. So you use that kind of morning when you've got your results, or if you've got them, say, use it now to shop around a little bit, have a look at a few different universities, get as many offers as you feel comfortable with, and then you can make up your mind from there as well.
And just going back to courses on the waiting list then, whilst we're still on sort of subjects, and this is obviously a tricky question to answer, but do courses tend to come off that waiting list? Is it worth going onto the waiting list? Should you kind of get your hopes up about that, or can it just vary and it's a bit of potluck?
Yeah, it will really, really depend on the course, but also kind of what's happened with exams in any given year, as to how many people are also waiting to hear, in terms of courses that are already that are full, if you like, in terms of the offers that have been made. It really depends on then lots of other things kind of happening in terms of other people not meeting the grades and other, so to create the vacancies there that then people from a waiting list point of view can kind of come through to. So yeah, it is quite complex, and it's not a given, obviously, if you're on a waiting list that you're gonna get a place, but I couldn't say with any kind of certainty in terms of what, how many or what percentage you've got in terms of a chance. It really just depends on the programme.
Not unlikely then, but just keep an eye on the website is your final point. So we've had some questions around what happens if you don't get the grades that you're predicted. So if it does come to results day and you either, let's go both sides, you might exceed the grades that you were predicted, or you might miss slightly. In those two scenarios, what's your advice for those people?
Yeah, I was going to say, I could just walk you through kind of how it works in practice, if that helps. Kind of. So as I mentioned, there's those two bits really. So let's go with you've exceeded. Let's start with the positive one. You might have been, say you're taking A levels, you predicted 3 Bs, you come out with 3 As. You might be in a position where you've already applied to university. You said, I really want to I really want to go to that university choice. The university will have had your results. They'll have gone, we asked them to get 3 Bs, they got 3 As. That's brilliant. Congratulations, your place is confirmed with us. Then you've got a bit of a choice to make on the day, really. You might then decide, well, maybe I'll have a look at a few different options. I'm in a pool of choices that may not have been available to you kind of 6 months, 12 months ago when you made your initial application. So if universities still have vacancies on courses that you want to do, you could then go back and revisit some of those options if you wanted to. You might just go, brilliant, I've done really, really well with my exams. I've got my university place that I wanted anyway. I'm off to enjoy the rest of the day. You might be in that position where you've got slightly fewer or lower grades than you wanted to. So using that BBB example again, you might go into school or college to get your results, or you might have them emailed to you, text you, whatever way they do it, and you might have BCC. So if you're in that category, if you're looking at those kind of grades, it might be again the university's gone, well, BCC, okay, they're kind of close on 2 of those there. Good personal statement, reference was clear, might have had an off day on the exam. You know what, we're still happy to accept them at BCC. That might happen. So again, universities will all vary in how they approach that task. So they might take you on that, and if that's your firm choice, that will automatically be confirmed. What might happen is your firm choice will say, no, actually, sorry, BCC, we wanted the 3 Bs. Then you'd be looking at your insurance choice. So the universities then pass the information over and say, we can't take them on the firm, can you take them insurance choice? Again, if they've asked for BCC and that's what you've got, great, you're accepted at your insurance choice. If they again say, it's not what we wanted, so it's a no from us as well, that's when you're in clearing. So that then means you have got the opportunity to go and then do that kind of shopping around and working out where it's going to be a good fit for you, really. So you kind of enter the 8 o'clock on the morning of that date in August, where you get kind of the opportunity to go and have a look around and try and secure places. But we always say to check that UCAS hub result as well. So it might, we get phone calls every year, and this is I can absolutely understand why people ring up and go, I've missed my grades, presuming I'm not coming to Keele anymore. And actually, in some cases, we'll go, no, you're fine. We've looked at the whole application again. We've reviewed it. You were 1 grade off. That's fine. We're still willing to accept you onto the course, so don't worry. So do check the UCAS decision. The UCAS decision is the university decision. You can ring up to check if you're not sure, but equally, if you've got it in hand, you've got the UCAS decision, we can assure you you're safe. So even though your grades might not look like what we were asking for you initially, the UCAS decision is the one to go off. So don't go off your grades alone, go off your UCAS hub decision that's in there.
100%. I'd also just sort of add in terms of sometimes if, say, you have sort of not got the grades that you were part of your conditional offer and you've got slightly lower, there could be a situation where we offer you an alternative course.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to see that in UCAS. It'd be a changed course offer. And it might be that it's a course that we think that you would be better suited to in terms of your grades that you've got, in terms of kind of progression on that program. Sometimes it can be a program that's allied to whatever it was you were holding your initial offer for. Sometimes it could be that program with a foundation year, so it's giving you that opportunity to do that additional kind of year of study in terms of preparing you for being able to go on to your undergraduate degree that you wanted to do. For Keele, our foundation year is really about giving people that best opportunity to build their foundation for success onto undergraduate study. So lots of preparation in terms of getting you to that point where you can then go on to the degree that you wanted to do. And for our foundation years, successful completion of the foundation year, you're guaranteed to be able to go on to the degree program that you wanted to do. So it's an extra year of study that's really, if you've not got the grades where you needing for direct entry, it could be something that we can offer you as an alternative. So yeah, when people kind of look at their grades, if they've just not done as well as they'd hoped for and not done as well as they predicted, it can be sort of panic and stress around, oh no, I'm definitely not going to have got my place anymore. Have a look in UCAS Hub and do speak to us, but you can see in UCAS whether an offer has actually been made to you, and what the sort of status of that is. If it is that it's a changed course offer, typically for us, we would call you as well to discuss that with you on the morning of results day, because we understand, it's perhaps not the first choice of what you wanted to apply for, and it's something slightly different, but we can talk that through with you in terms of why that might be a better fit based on the grades that you've got. But if you have any concerns, obviously, immediately you might want to give us a call. And same for other, for other universities, if you're in this situation where you've been, given a change course offer. I speak to a lot of students, but a lot of parents who kind of, what does this mean? What does it mean that it's changed from being this type of offer to that type of offer? And that's typically what it means. You can go from being conditional firm, so it's your firm choice based on a condition of meeting a certain level of grades, to unconditional firm. You've met those conditions and now the offer is unconditional. So there's we work with it all day, every day. It's really familiar to us, and we totally understand that for most people, as Andy said, like at the start, it's kind of a once in a lifetime. Maybe as a parent, you might perhaps doing it a couple of times and supporting young people through their application and their journey into higher education. But for a lot of people, it does only happen once, and it's a lot of information to take in. There's lots and lots of variables. There's a lot of choice out there. So you'll find that most universities are going to be really supportive in terms of helping you to understand the information that's being sent to you. Your information that you've got in UCAS Hub should be nice and easy for you to understand as well. But if you have got questions, that's what we're here for. You can speak to our admissions team at the moment in the run up to results day, but also on results day itself. We've got a whole team of people, dozens of people ready to kind of answer the phone and answer any questions that you might have. If you want to apply over the phone, you can do that. If you want to use the online form, you can use the online form, and we can kind of then sort out anything in terms of any queries or questions that we might have with you in that form instead.
Lovely. And you answered Hannah's question there, which is what type of work is generally done during a foundation year.
Okay.
Are foundation years available on all courses, or is it just some?
Yeah, pretty much.
For here at Keele, we do, we've got a foundation year for pretty much every single course.
I would say that the restriction is really around medicine foundation year. It's very, very, very small numbers, and it's we take there's a specific criteria in terms of being able to get onto that medicine foundation year. But for other subjects, we do foundation years. So we start in September, typically for a foundation year that's more traditional, if you like, kind of like across the whole year, in terms of modules that are going to prepare you for your undergraduate study the following September. We also offer a January start foundation year for undergraduate students. That's a slightly more compressed timescale, doing the same kind of work but just over a much shorter period of time. But that's also blended, so a lot of that delivery is online, and then you come onto campus sort of a few times throughout the programme to do some study, but predominantly you're studying online for that. We do both options from a September and a January start foundation year across science, health, business, and humanities. So there's lots of different options there.
Fantastic. I've got a couple more questions, so until we wrap up, but if you've got one, if you've still got time to ask it, pop it in the chat and I can ask it just before we wrap up. In terms of clearing then, and how many students we get through clearing, or how many students apply to every university through clearing, is it a small number? Is it a large number? If you do this, are you going to be one of a small handful, or what do those numbers look like for students who apply through clearing?
It's thousands of students use clearing every year, tens of thousands of students use clearing. And I think, kind of, as we were just mentioning at the start, really, what clearing is and how students use it has really changed over the last few years. The majority of students last year weren't using clearing because they were disappointed with their results. They were changing their mind in some form. They were changing a course direction. They might be changing a different university. They might be trading, going up because they got grades better than expected. They might have been just moving around based on their circumstances. I think that's another really kind of key thing to think about. What do your personal circumstances look like, and have they changed since you made that initial application? You might be now thinking, I thought I wanted to move away, but actually I really want to stay at home. That might be something that's changed for you in the last few months. That means that you're reconsidering your options. As I say, tens of thousands of students do it every year, so you're absolutely not alone. And we have loads of students coming through clearing at Keele, and it's totally normal. And I think again, as you said, Sam, we do this all the time, don't we? We do this every year. And actually, if you've got the time, you can go back through YouTube and watch us having the same conversation every year for the last few years.
We're very good at it now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does change year on year. So yeah, we do this all the time, but we recognise it is kind of a once in a lifetime experience for you guys. So we get asked these questions all the time. It's totally normal. As you said, Sam, come from a student experience side as well. We've got students living on site who've been through clearing. Totally normal, happens all the time. I would say as well, if you have a look on our website, there's a really good kind of student story there from a lad who came onto our law program, isn't there? And he talks you through what it was like to kind of come to university through clearing. So if you want a kind of real experience, we didn't necessarily study at Keele, but if you have a quick look, we can show you kind of James's story. It's really worth a watch. If you're unsure about what the clearing process looks like, James will be able to kind of talk you through what it was like to apply to Keele. And also, crucially, he talks about settling in. When we say about hundreds of students at Keele coming through that route, it's some good advice practically from a student who's been through it about what his experience was like.
Brilliant. I can't see any more questions in the chat, so I'm going to wrap up with a few more. So finally then, if you are thinking of joining Keele specifically through clearing, what advice would you give to people?
I think for me, it's kind of come in with a little bit of a plan, but also think about the ways that you want to engage with us. I think, for me, it's jumping on the phone, and I hate to say it because I know people don't like ringing people. I won't book a restaurant I've got a call anymore, I'll be honest, let alone sort of university. If it's not online, I don't want to do it.
Did you say you won't book a restaurant if you've got to phone them up?
No, absolutely not. So I appreciate
That's
people
a high bar.
won't do it online. Do it online. We do have an online option.
Yeah, there's the online form, and more and more people want to use the form rather than want to have a chat with us. But I think for results day itself,
pick
you
up
want
the
to have
phone.
that conversation and get that offer in principle.
I guess you're talking to people like us. They're people who just want to help you at the end of the day, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got loads of people set up to do it, but I think the benefit of getting over the phone is we can get all the information we need in one go. So sometimes when you fill out the online form, we might need one extra piece and if you've not got it, then we have to come back through and then email you later. But the benefit of ringing universities up, and Keele specifically, we'll have loads of people ready to help you out. We'll be able to talk you through the courses we've got available, talk you through your options. So I think try and be somewhere where you can access the phone and you can access your results and your UCAS hub. If you can get all those things right, and then we're happy to have the chat.
That is your usual top tip.
That's your story as well. You tell us about the time
don't be on holiday. You can help it.
You were on the phones, weren't you? And someone was
on holiday. I think it's one of my colleagues tells a story of when he was on the clearing phones, and there's a lot of people by a swimming pool somewhere waiting on the result of a phone call, and it went well, which was great. But it was a lot more difficult to have that conversation without kind of little things that we might say. Oh, you've got your what exam board was that? And if you're distracted on holiday, that might be a little bit more tricky to get your hands on that information. So we always say, try and be in kind of where you're living now, where you can get hold of your results, log it into UCAS, and try and have a phone call as well. I think for me.
Yeah, I think we also sometimes we'll speak to parents on results day in terms of ringing up to find out about availability of different courses and things like that, and that is part of some people's plan in terms of perhaps parents are involved. You have your little short list of people you want to call and speak to, and divide it up and have a couple of phones on the go. It really depends on sort of your circumstances and how many people you might be wanting to try and speak to on results day. Like you mentioned earlier, in theory you can get 10 offers made to you, can't you, on results day if you were so inclined to ring that many people and to make those many approaches. So it's up to you. You've got that choice. I think in terms of if you're looking for looking to find a place, you can make those calls, and you can have friends and family also support you with doing that as well.
Brilliant. Was that your top tip?
That wasn't my top tip. I kind of
let's get your top tip now.
I mean, in terms of sort of being just joining Keele in general, whether you're going to come through us through clearing or you might be thinking about next year or whenever, My advice is always, if you can visit us, come and visit us in person. It's such a lovely campus, and you'll get to meet the academics, you'll get to meet support teams from around the university, particularly if you come to an open day. We've got everything kind of set up so you can have the full experience of what it would be like to be a student here. And it's a really, really good way to kind of get that feel for what it's like, being a student at Keele. So if you can come to an open day, if you can come and visit us, I would always recommend that, because it's a really, really good way to get a feel for whether Keele is a good fit for you. A lot of the students that we kind of speak to when we're trying to understand, what was it about Keele that you really liked, and what made you decide that Keele was the right place for you. And they all talk about this feeling, I came onto campus and I just got this feeling that this would be the right place for me. So it sounds a little bit cheesy maybe, but it's definitely kind of my microphone's picking up that really loud, whatever car or motorbike that is, it's just going past the studio on campus. Apologies for that. But yeah, it's a lovely, lovely campus environment that so many of our students really do really sort of rate that as being really important to them, and they just really, really love that feeling when they first come on campus. So if you can visit us, definitely visit us. If you can't get to us, next best thing, go on the website and have a look at the website. Our whole kind of website is geared up to kind of really sort of try and give you as much information as possible about what it is like to be a student at Keele, and that can be from the course pages and all the information about any particular course you might be interested in, through to the student life pages, the accommodation pages, information about things like study abroad or learn a language, some of those additional things you can do, placements that you might be able to do as part of your course. We've got loads and loads of information on the website, so yeah, have a look at that, and that's a really good kind of starting point, I think, in terms of getting that idea of whether we're going to be a good place for you to study at.
Fantastic. And I definitely do come visit us. As you can see, it is great weather at the moment, as I'm being lasered by the setting sun as we go through the stream. We started okay, and as we got through, I'm just getting more and more in my eye line. We can't guarantee the weather, but especially in the sun, it is a very nice place. Thank you both. That was brilliant. Thank you everyone who watched. Just to kind of wrap up then, you've got all the information that we spoke about today. You can go to keele.ac.uk/clearing and find out more. That's where all of our current vacancies are. You can find out about the courses that aren't in clearing, that are in clearing, and find out more about all of our courses in general. You've got virtualtour.keele.ac.uk for our virtual tour if you can't make it onto campus. But if you can, our next open day is Saturday the 16th of August, and you can go to keele.ac.uk/open day if you want to register for that. We hope to see you at Keele soon. If you are getting your results, good luck. All the best to anyone who is getting their results, and I think everyone would agree. All the best for whatever happens, and hopefully we'll see some of you on campus soon. Thanks for watching.